Have you ever wondered why you can't stop thinking about this person? Why, no matter how much time passes, no matter how many du'as you make, no matter how much you try to move on, the feelings still won't go away? Is it a sign, a test, a punishment, or is there something deeper happening? What if I told you that the reason Allah hasn't removed these feelings is not because He's ignoring you, but because He's teaching you something? That this struggle, this attachment, this lingering emotion is not an obstacle, but a path that is shaping you, refining you, and most importantly, preparing you for something far greater than what you are chasing. In this video, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful lessons that most people overlook. These are lessons that could completely change the way you see your emotions, your pain, and even your future. If you've been struggling with feelings you can't shake off, this is the message you were meant to hear today. Stay with me till the end, because once you understand these 5 lessons, you won't just feel relief, you will feel transformed. Lesson 1. Your heart is becoming a mirror of your true desires. There's a reason why your heart still clings to this person. Is it because of their beauty, their kindness, their presence in your life? Now ask yourself, if Allah Himself stood before you and offered you something even better, would you still choose them? The reality is, we desire what we value most. Sometimes Allah keeps these emotions in us to expose what we truly love. Not what we claim to love, but what our heart actually prioritizes. Your feelings are revealing your inner world. And maybe, just maybe, this is your chance to shift your desires, so that what you love the most is something that will never leave you. Allah. Lesson 2. You are attached to an illusion, not a person. Think about the first time you felt something for this person. Maybe it was their kindness, the way they spoke, or how they made you feel understood. In that moment, your heart connected to an idea, a version of them that felt perfect, comforting, and safe. But time passed, and things changed. Maybe they distanced themselves, maybe they hurt you, or maybe they simply became someone different. Yet, despite all this, your feelings remain as strong as ever. Why? Because you are not in love with who they are now. You are in love with the version of them that exists in your mind. You've created a story where they were meant to be yours, where their presence in your life was necessary for your happiness. But what if that story was never real? What if you've been holding on to an illusion, an expectation, rather than the actual person? This is why, even when they ignore you, you still check your phone, hoping for a message. Even when they show no effort, you make excuses for them. Even when they are no longer the same, you hold on to who they used to be, rather than accepting who they are now. It's not them you can't let go of. It's the dream, the possibility, the what could have been. Allah is allowing these feelings to remain so that you open your eyes, so that you wake up and realize that your pain is not about them, it's about you. It's about the expectations you placed on them, the belief that they were the source of your happiness, the idea that without them, you are incomplete. But here's the truth. The happiness you thought they could give you was never meant to come from them. It was always meant to come from Allah. No person, no matter how perfect they seem, can fill the space in your heart that was designed for your Creator. The moment you stop chasing the illusion and start seeing reality for what it is, the weight on your heart begins to lift. You stop waiting for closure because you realize you already have it. You stop needing their love because you realize that your worth was never in their hands. And when that happens, you don't just heal, you evolve into someone stronger, someone who is no longer a prisoner of a love that was never meant to last. Lesson 3. You are being shown the power of your own heart. There is something incredible about the human heart. It has the power to hold so much: love, pain, longing, and hope, all at the same time. Right now, you are carrying emotions that feel overwhelming, feelings that you never asked for, yet they remain. You might think, why is my heart so stubborn? Why do I still feel this way even when I want to move on? But have you ever stopped to think about what this really means? The fact that you are still functioning, still waking up, still pushing through your days despite carrying such heavy emotions is proof of something greater. Your heart is far stronger than you realize. A weak heart would collapse under this weight. A fragile heart would break the moment things didn't go its way. But here you are, still standing, still fighting, still holding on to hope. This is not a curse. This is a sign of resilience, a sign that Allah has given you an extraordinary ability, the ability to endure, to feel deeply without being destroyed, to love without losing yourself. Many people believe that strength means feeling nothing, that being strong means having a heart that doesn't get attached, that doesn't break, that doesn't long for someone. But real strength is not about having an empty heart. It's about having a heart that can carry pain, yet still find a way to move forward. Think about the greatest people in history, the prophets, the scholars, the righteous. Did they not have deep emotions? Did they not experience loss, heartbreak, separation? Yet their strength was not in avoiding these emotions, but in knowing how to handle them. Right now, your heart is undergoing a transformation. Allah is showing you how much you are capable of handling. He is teaching you that emotions do not define you, but how you respond to them does. If you can go through this pain and still turn to Allah, still maintain your character, still choose to be a better person instead of letting this break you, then you are already winning a battle most people lose. Think about how much stronger you will be in the future because of what you are enduring now. This is preparing you for bigger tests, for bigger responsibilities. Perhaps one day, when you are in a marriage or when you face another hardship, you will remember this moment and realize that your heart is built to withstand so much more than you ever imagined. So, don't look at yourself as weak just because you still have feelings. Your ability to love, to feel deeply, to care so much, this is not your weakness. It is your greatest strength. And when you finally learn to master your emotions, instead of being mastered by them, you will realize that your heart was never your enemy. It was your greatest weapon all along. Lesson 4. Allah is delaying closure to protect your future. There are moments when you sit alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering, why can't I just move on? You have tried everything, distracting yourself, making dua, reminding yourself that it's over. But something inside still holds on. No matter how much time passes, the attachment lingers. The memories, the emotions, the silent hopes that maybe, just maybe, things will turn around. You wonder, why is Allah delaying my closure? Why is He allowing me to still feel something for a person who is no longer a part of my life? What if the reason your closure hasn't arrived yet is because Allah is still protecting you? Protecting you from making a decision too soon. Protecting you from rushing into something that could break you even more. Protecting you from repeating the same mistakes with the same kind of people. Think about it. How many times have we begged for something only to later realize that not getting it was the best thing that ever happened to us? How many people in your past did you once think were meant for you only to later be grateful that they left? Sometimes when we don't get closure right away, it's because we are not ready for it. If Allah immediately removed all feelings, all attachments, all memories, we might never learn the lesson behind the pain. We might never take the time to reflect, to grow, to understand the deeper reason why this person was in our life in the first place. Imagine if Allah had answered your dua the first time you asked to remove these feelings. Imagine if one day You woke up and simply didn't care anymore. Sounds like a blessing, right? But what if that quick relief came at the cost of the wisdom you were meant to gain from this? Allah is not just concerned with giving you relief. He is concerned with giving you growth. He doesn't want you to just forget and move on. He wants you to transform into someone wiser, someone who doesn't fall into the same emotional traps, someone who no longer seeks love from the wrong places. You may think you need closure now, but Allah knows the exact timing that is best for you. Maybe He is keeping this door slightly open so you don't rush into another mistake. Maybe He is keeping the attachment in your heart so you truly learn the lesson this time. Maybe He is delaying your healing because there is something greater coming, something that requires you to be stronger, wiser, and more patient. The heartbreak you feel now is temporary, but the person you become because of it will stay with you forever. When the right time comes, when Allah knows you have taken everything you needed from this experience, He will close this chapter in a way that leaves no doubts, no regrets, no lingering pain. And when that happens, you will look back and say, Ya Allah, thank you for delaying my closure. Because if you had given it to me earlier, I wouldn't have grown into the person I am today. Until then, trust Him. Trust that He is not delaying your closure to punish you. He is delaying it to protect you. And one day, when you finally walk away without looking back, you will understand exactly why. Lesson 5. You are not meant to escape the feeling. You are meant to evolve through it. There is a reason why this feeling hasn't disappeared, why no matter how much you try to push it away, it keeps coming back. You've made dua, you've tried to distract yourself, you've even convinced yourself that you're over it. But deep inside, there's still something there. It's frustrating, isn't it? You ask yourself, why won't Allah just remove this feeling? If it's not meant to be, why am I still holding on? But what if the purpose of this feeling was never for you to escape it? What if the reason Allah hasn't removed it is because He wants you to evolve through it? Most people assume healing means forgetting, that one day they'll wake up and feel nothing, that if they ignore their emotions long enough, they'll magically disappear. But true healing isn't about erasing emotions, it's about understanding them. It's about transforming through them. Right now, you are going through something that is shaping you in ways you don't even realize. The pain you feel, the longing, the attachment, it is all a process. A process meant to refine your heart, to teach you patience, to train you in self-control. Think about this. If Allah removed the feeling instantly, would you really have grown? Would you really have learned the lessons hidden within this experience? Or would you have simply moved on, unchanged, untransformed, still vulnerable to making the same mistakes? This feeling is here because it is teaching you. Maybe it's teaching you that you can love deeply, but you must learn to love in a way that does not enslave you. Maybe it's teaching you that you place too much of your happiness in another human being instead of Allah. Maybe it's teaching you the value of emotional strength, of being able to feel something intensely, yet not let it consume you. You were never meant to escape this feeling like it never existed. You were meant to rise above it, to understand it, to master it, until it no longer controls you. Allah is not testing you with this emotion just so you can suffer. He is testing you so that you can become the person you are meant to be. Stronger, wiser, more in control of your own heart. Look at the person you were before this experience. Look at the way you used to handle emotions, the way you used to attach yourself to people. And now, look at yourself today. Even if you don't see it clearly yet, you are already changing. You are learning to be patient with yourself. You are learning to rely on Allah more than you rely on people. You are learning that your heart is far more powerful than you ever imagined. One day, this feeling will no longer have the same effect on you, not because it suddenly vanished, but because you became bigger than it. You evolved through it. You grew into someone who no longer needs to run away from emotions, but knows how to handle them. And when that day comes, you won't look back with regret. You will look back and realize this was never a punishment. This was a transformation. What if I told you that one day you will look back at this pain and realize it was the best thing that ever happened to you? Right now, it might feel like you're drowning in emotions that refuse to leave. But what you don't see is that Allah is not keeping these feelings in your heart to break you. He is keeping them to build you. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night, every dua you whispered when no one was watching, none of it has been wasted. Every moment of this struggle has been shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more in control of their own heart. You are not the same person you were before this experience. You have already grown, and soon you will reach a point where you no longer beg for these feelings to leave, because you will have outgrown them. You won't need to escape them. You won't need to fight them. You will have evolved into someone who no longer lets emotions control them, but instead understands them, masters them, and uses them as a tool to get closer to Allah. And when that day comes, you will smile. Not because you finally got what you wanted, but because you will realize Allah gave you something even better. So trust Him, trust the process, and most importantly, trust that what's coming is far greater than what you are holding on to. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because you never know, this could be the sign they were waiting for.